Friends, Brian here, and if you're wondering who the hell I am not an exercise scientist. I am a guy who's now in his early 50s, who's been around a long time, done some crazy stuff in the gym, and hey, it's just time to talk about stuff. I'm in my 50s, you know, bring all this knowledge into a new age because it's a different time for your body when you're training, you know what I'm saying? Today, I want to talk to you guys about the Liver King. I know it's an old topic, but his documentary just came out on Netflix, so I wanted to take a moment, talk about this, talk about the Liver Man, and see what's up. So the documentary came out a few days ago on Netflix. I did watch it. I'm going to be upfront and honest with you guys right from the beginning here, as I always am. When he appeared out of nowhere a few years ago and he started getting this massive following, I didn't take him too seriously. The guy was in great shape. He had a different way of living. His following exploded. Of course, you wouldn't be human if you didn't scratch your head going, what is working for this guy? What's taking off like this? And then, of course, the denials started about taking performance-enhancing drugs. You know, when you've been in the know, it's kind of like, oh no, you know where this is going. But let's talk about it. The documentary was interesting. It had some behind-the-scenes stuff with him and some people he worked with marketing and with his businesses. Inside look in his life, you saw the lifestyle, you saw the cars, you saw the toys, you saw all the stuff. They talk about his rise to fame and then the big fall, getting caught, all that other stuff. Now we have to talk about where the problem lies, okay? Now this is only my opinion. You know, again, on this channel, folks, we can agree to disagree. I welcome all your comments, all your thoughts. Even if you don't agree with me, that's fine. It's okay. I know the world's getting a little crazy. We can't agree to disagree anymore, but here we can, okay? Deception. I think the whole thing with the steroid thing with the general public can get very, very tricky because a lot of the general public don't exercise, they don't work out. Many live unhealthy lifestyles, and there's a lot of misconceptions. Many times in my life, I have known people, cigarette in one hand, beer in the other hand, and that topic will come up, they'll say, well, that person takes steroids. If I did that, I'd look like that too. Or if I did that, I'd be that successful. If I did that, it's like, when you're kind of in the know, you're kind of like, oh, no, they don't really understand. And I think sometimes if you're someone who might be on something and you work out, and you just do your thing, and someone comes up to you and asks if you're taking anything or not, some people might be like, I don't know if it's really any of your business. I don't come up to you and ask you what you're taking. But where it gets a little tricky in my book is when you're selling things. You have a business, you're promoting things, and you are making money off the public, making money off customers, intentionally or not, possibly misleading people. But this is an age-old practice. I can tell you guys, it probably started in the 50s or 60s as far as bodybuilding and fitness go. But I can tell you as a kid coming up in the 80s when I started really working out hard, I'm not saying I had Mr. Olympia genetics, but you know, I was growing pretty good, training naturally as a teenager, training hard, reading books, reading magazines, looking around at some other guys in my school, even grades ahead of me going, I'm stronger than them. And even though some of them admittedly told me that they dabbled with some stuff, I was always bigger and stronger. But I didn't really understand that whole world of all that stuff. But I would work out hard, but I'd be looking in the magazines going, well, I take that product. How come I don't look like that guy? How come I'm pretty big and strong, but how come I'm not that strong? But then as you get older and you learn the game and you understand everything, you're like, okay, this is how it works now. But for most of the people standing on the outside, they don't understand. You guys know that deceptive practices are everywhere with marketing and business. Hell, there's even a very popular hamburger chain that's getting sued right now because people are saying, hey, the product you're advertising and selling isn't really the product that I'm paying the money and getting when I get the product. Instead of looking like that nice, plump, thick, juicy burger with the fresh vegetables on it, it's this squashed little thing. The burger company's saying, you guys should kind of know better, but should they really? Ethical debate. I know as someone who's been around for a while, I didn't believe any of what the Liver King was saying about taking stuff or not, or his denials. And you have to put this into sharp contrast. In recent memory, another big influencer in the fitness era, in the lifting industry, Rich Piana, I think why people really gravitated towards Rich is because he just said, yeah, I take stuff, obviously. This is what I do. I still sell stuff with my supplement company, but hey, I think that is part of what endeared people to Rich Piana. I've met Rich. I've talked to Rich. I've seen the lineups of people waiting to see and meet Rich. I would see the hugest lineups, and I would see couples pushing their baby carriages. I don't even think the couple worked out. They would do whatever it takes to have a picture of Rich holding their baby. He inspired people that much. Now, that being said, I must say about the Liver King, he also did a lot of good. He inspired a lot of people out there to live better, to be healthier. I can't say I for one, would be into his diet, eating a lot of raw liver, raw meat, and especially testicles. That's a little out there for me, but hey, what the hell do I know? It wouldn't be on my diet regimen, but he inspired a lot of people to get to the gym, to start working out, to be healthier. And you know what? A lot of the general public might not understand this, but the Liver King, you don't just take drugs and look like that. He put in a lot of hard work and a lot of hard training. I know, I can hear so many people out there now saying, if I popped a few pills, I'd look like Arnold Schwarzenegger too. No, you wouldn't. But having been around a long time, the whole natty or not, again, that's another thing I look at. Natty or not, that's a very popular topic. Maybe because people are used to people lying. They want to see people get caught, like what happened to the Liver King. They just want to know what that person's on. Maybe it makes people feel better about themselves. I don't know. But I know it's kind of an old, tired thing. People are going to be natural. People are going to take stuff. It is what it is. Let's move on. And by looking at his following, it sure didn't hurt him any. So if we look at his YouTube following, he's got 1.21 million subscribers. I think his Instagram, he's 2 or 3 million Instagram followers. Let me ask you, and I welcome your comments, to society out there who are so bent out of shape about the whole steroid thing. Why has his following gotten even bigger, even though he lied? Tell me what you guys think. I didn't mind the documentary. I thought it was interesting. I watched it. Might be worth your time too if you're into the fitness, the whole fitness thing, into working out. Or maybe you're just fascinated by the story of a bigger than life character. That's all I got to say about it. Again, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate the like, subscribe, comment below. And this is Brian. Time to be better. See you next time.